For today's video, I am going to be showing you how to make this wonderful vintage daisy motif. These daisy motifs are so versatile and they have so many applications. For example, I can use a size 3 organic cotton baby yarn, and I can make the perfect size baby washcloth. Not only is it perfect for that, it's a wonderful little baby shower gift. Put it in with some gentle soaps and you've got yourself a wonderful little gift. Pink, blue, yellow, green, doesn't matter. You can also make it using the size 10 crochet thread, and this is the size you're going to get with that. Now I could even take this size up to, let's say a size 5 crochet thread, and it'll make it just a little bit bigger, but either size crochet thread makes it the perfect coaster size. And how lovely is this? Like, especially if you have a little more of a girly kitchen, or you want coasters for your crystal, and so you want your coasters to be a little more delicate looking. If you wanted them to be chunkier, you could just use a thicker washable yarn. Also, these make great appliques. For example, you can take one of these guys or several of these guys and you can sew them at the hem of curtains in a child's bedroom. You can also use them as patches on jackets and jeans and purses. You can even take these two sizes together and stitch them together and make yourself a very cute and functional little coin purse. There's so many things that you can do with them. They completely lend themselves to all sorts of fantastic ideas. And then we have the large size. This is a size 4 worsted weight, just standard acrylic yarn. And these pieces, I could literally make 100 of these pieces with my scrap yarns and then sew them together to create a unique and fun afghan. Also, if I wanted to, I could again use 100% cotton, not the acrylic, but 100% cotton. And this makes the perfect size pot holder or hot pad. If I wanted to make a washcloth or a dishcloth out of them myself, I could use a heavier cotton yarn that's actually designed for dishcloths. So many things that you can do with this awesome motif. It's been around forever, and I think people look at it and think it's way more complicated than it actually is. And so today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to make this. My name is Sig, and what a pleasure it is to have you with me at this time. It's your interest and support that allows me to contribute new content and weekly videos. Help us all grow together by tapping the subscribe bar, notification bell, and like buttons. I look forward to your comments and always value your feedback. Now let's get started. As mentioned before, this particular tutorial can be done with just about any yarn or thread that you would like to use, so long as you use the appropriate size hook, because it is such a versatile piece and it looks good no matter what you choose to use to make it. But for today's video, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to make it using this medium weight acrylic yarn. Just your standard yarn, any color you choose to use. And I'm also going to use a size G hook with this particular yarn. I'm going to begin by chaining 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm going to join. Now once I have my circle, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to chain 3. Next, I am going to double crochet 15 double crochets in this ring, which will ultimately leave me with 16 stitches in this ring when I'm finished. Once I've completed a total of my 16 stitches, which are going to be on this ring, I'm then going to go ahead and I'm going to join into that third chain of this first 3 chain stitch. And then I'm going to chain 3. Now for this round, I want to end up with a total of 24 stitches. So that means I'm going to do a pattern of 1 double crochet, and then in the next stitch I'm going to do an increase. And then after that I'm going to do a double crochet in the next stitch, and then the next stitch after that I'm going to do an increase. So this chain 3 right here is going to act as my first stitch. And in the next stitch, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to increase. In other words, I'm going to put 2 double crochets into that same stitch. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to do a double crochet. And then in the stitch after that, I'm going to do an increase. Now I'm going to continue this way until I've completed the round. And that'll leave me with a total of 24 stitches. So again, next stitch, double crochet, and the stitch after that will be an increase. Now that I have 24 stitches on my round, and this is round 2, I'm going to go ahead and again I'm going to join in that third chain of the first 3 chain stitch. And then at this point I'm actually going to finish off my green for a minute. I'm going to change color and I'm going to bring in my second color. And in this case I am going to use a cream. Next I'm going to tie this in. And then I'm going to chain 4. And in that same stitch, I'm going to double crochet. And then I'm going to chain 1. Then I'm going to skip the next stitch. And in the stitch after that, I'm going to double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet again. Basically, we're going to repeat this combination of stitches 10 more times. And that's going to basically be skip the next stitch. And then in the next stitch after that, we're going to go ahead and double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet again. And then chain 1. So now that I've come to the end of my round 3, again I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to join into that third chain on that 4 chain stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 1 space, and then I'm going to chain 3 plus 1 more, so basically chain 4. So this chain 3 is going to act as your double crochet plus the chain 1. And then I'm going to double crochet 2 more times in that space, that same space. And then I'm going to chain 1. Then I'm going to skip this next chain 1 space, and I'm going to do a combination of 2 double crochets plus 1 chain plus 2 more double crochets into that next chain 1 space. And then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to skip this next chain 1 space, and I'm going to repeat the pattern again in the chain 1 space after that. So it's going to be 2 double crochets plus a chain 1 plus 2 more double crochets plus a chain 1. And then again I'm going to skip this next chain 1 space, and here in this next chain 1 space, I'm going to repeat again the same pattern. 2 double crochets, plus a single chain, plus 2 double crochets, and another chain, all in that same space. And I'm going to continue doing that all the way around 8 more times. And then when we get back here to the very start, to the beginning again, I'll show you what to do next. Now that we've come back to the near beginning of our round 4, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 1 as per that cluster. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a double crochet in that chain 1 space. And then I'm going to join in the 3rd chain of this chain 4 stitch. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slip stitch right into that chain 1 space. And I'm going to chain 4. And then I'm going to do 2 double crochets in that same space, just as we did before. I'm in chain 1. And then as we did before, I'm going to skip the next chain 1 space. And then I'm going to do the combination of 2 double crochets plus a chain 1 plus 2 more double crochets plus a chain 1 in this next chain 1 space. Just as we did for round 4, we're going to do the same thing for round 5. And I'm going to continue that until I've completed 12 of these groupings all the way around for round 5. And then once we get back around to the beginning of round 5, just like we did at the end of round 4, we're going to come and we're going to double crochet and then join into the 3rd chain of this 4 chain stitch, just as before. I'm joining right there into that 3rd chain. And this is what your work should look like so far at the completion of round 5. I'll give you a moment to take a look at that if you need to do that. So, as before, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to slip stitch into that chain 1 space. And then I'm going to chain 4. Now for round 6, we're going to change the pattern just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double crochet 3 double crochets into that same stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip the next chain 1 space, and in the next chain 1 space I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make 3 double crochets, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to make 3 more double crochets. I'm going to chain 1, all in the same space. And then again, I'm going to skip the next chain 1 space, and I'm going to make 3 double crochets plus a chain stitch plus 3 double crochets plus a chain stitch, all in the same chain 1 space. And then I'll continue that 9 more times until I get back here to where we began, and then I'll show you how to move on from there, what the next step is going to be. Okay, so now that we've made it back around to the beginning here on round 6, I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to double crochet 2 double crochets right here into this next stitch next to our chain 4 stitch. So I got 1 and then 2. And that basically helps me to complete the shell cluster that we have going on in this particular stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to join in that 3rd chain. And then I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch right there into that chain 1 space. And that will leave us ready to start round 7. Now for round 7, we're going to do things just a little differently again. I'm going to go ahead and I'm only going to chain 3 this time. And then I'm going to make 9 double crochets in this chain 1 space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that's going to basically be the end of our petal. So again, I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip the next chain 1 space. And in the next chain 1 space, I'm going to do a double crochet 10 times in that same space. So it'll be 10 double crochets in this chain 1 space. And then again, a chain 1. And so I'm going to do this 10 more times in each one of these shell cluster spaces. We're going to do 10 double crochets. And then when we've finished round 7, and after we've joined and fastened off, then we'll move on to the next color. So now this is where the magic begins. I'm going to switch over to, in this case, I'm using a 3rd color, but of course you can use any color you want. You can use 1, 2, 3, however many or however few colors you would like to use. It's your call. And with this, I'm going to start defining the petals. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie in my 3rd color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to find one of these double crochet stitches that is open, that sits right between each one of these petals. And I'm going to bring my yarn behind my work, and then I'm going to pull it through. And then I'm going to make a slip stitch, basically tying it on. And now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start making chain stitches. So basically 2 chain stitches for each round that we transverse. So I just had my first stitch where I tied it on, and then my second stitch, my chain stitch. And then over this chain 1 space, basically the bar between the 2 petals, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain again. And this is, I'll just weave that little bit in a little later. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my second chain for that round. And then with this next bar coming up, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a chain right over that. And then I'm going to make my next chain. And then again with the next bar, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a chain over that. And then I'm going to make my next chain. And then I'm going to chain over this next bar. And then I'm going to make my next chain. And then I'm going to chain over this final bar right here at the top. Now what I'm going to do is in this first double crochet space, or this first double crochet stitch I should say, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a single crochet. And then I'm going to make a single crochet in each one of those stitches all the way around the top part of that first petal that we're working on. So basically 10 single crochets. So now when I get to that last single crochet, I'm going to start working my chains. Now this can be a little fiddly, but once you get into the swing of it, it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain over that bar. And then I'm going to make my next chain. And then I'm going to chain over the next bar. And then I'm going to make my next chain. And then chain over the next bar. And then make my next chain. Chain over my next bar. And then make the next chain. And then again chain over the next bar. And then make the next chain. Now what I'm going to do is I'm then going to take my hook, now that I've completed this petal all the way back down to the center of our flower. I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to insert it into the top bars of that double crochet there in round 2, and I'm going to hook onto my yarn and I'm going to pull it through so that I can complete that last chain. Then I'm going to turn my work and I'm going to start making my way back up again. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull that yarn back through and I'm going to make my chain. And then I'm going to make my next chain, and then I'm going to chain over my bar, and then I'm going to make my next chain, and then I'm going to chain over the bar, and then the next chain, and then I'm going to chain over the bar. Again, another chain, and then another chain over the bar, and then again another chain, and then chain over that last bar, at which time we will begin our 10 single crochets again around the top of that second petal. Okay, so we're going to continue to do just that all the way around for each one of these petals, and that will give us a total of 12 petals when we're finished. And when we come back here to this final petal right here, we're going to then chain stitch as before all the way down to the bottom, and then we're going to tie off. Oh wait, did I just say finished off? Well, if you'd like to finish off, sort of like what I've done here, absolutely, you can go ahead and finish off at this point. But I'm going to continue on because I would like to make a spiral. And I'm going to basically just chain stitch, just as we've been doing right here along the edges of the petal, a spiral right into the center of my flower. And so the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to follow the outline I hope you've enjoyed today's video, but now it's time for me to say goodbye. So until I see all you wonderful and creative fiber artists again, stay crafty, stay amazing, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye now.